Howdy fellas, B Junior here from B Junior's Movie Cave on the Endurance Productions YouTube channel. Gonna do a little quick movie reviewage for you today for a title that's been re-released on the Miramax Dimension line by the wonderful folks over at Echo Bridge Entertainment. They've sent out a screener today for one of my, I won't say one of my favorite movies, but it's one of the movies that I like from the post-Scream late 90s era. The Kevin Williamson written and directed joint Teaching Mrs. Tingle, starring Katie Holmes and Molly Ringwald and Helen Mirren and a number of others. Vivica A. Fox shows up in a small supporting role in this movie. What can I say? This is one of those little films, guys, that basically I think totally captures where film was in the mid to late 90s. I mean, there was all the shows like Dawson's Creek, the films like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, all usually of which had a thumb in the pie, so to speak, from Kevin Williamson, who's a guy who came to Hollywood, basically made his bank on redoing the genre by his writing skills. That's the best way I can explain it. He basically got involved with Wes Craven on Scream, and then the rest is history. You know, he was involved in a lot of projects. I guess we would call it a Scream knockoff. Know What You Did Last Summer series there, and somewhere along the way, I think prior or somewhere around the time of The Faculty, the joint effort with Robert Rodriguez in the director's chair, they let Kevin Williamson direct his own film, and this is what was given birth to Teaching Mrs. Tingle. It's not a horror movie, and what I remember about this film, the trailers that were coming out like every month during those summertime previews that came out, this movie was, if I remember correctly, marketed as sort of like a horror movie with music pumped up and amped up in the trailer and all that. Now, what you have to understand is Teaching Mrs. Tingle is not a horror movie. I mean, you could say it's kind of borderline with horror elements kind of built in. Teaching Mrs. Tingle is basically a dark comedy suspense movie for teenagers of the late 90s. That's the best way I can explain it. The storyline, let me go over the story a little bit, and then we'll get into the DVD presentation that they've sent out today. The storyline basically centers around Katie Holmes' character in the movie. She's basically a girl who's worked her butt off in school, tried to make good grades in order to gain recognition, in order to get a scholarship to a good school, so that she won't follow the same path of her mother and end up as a waitress. And not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a noble profession. It's just that she wants to be, a little more higher on the food chain so she can support her mother and make a better life for herself. Just really trying to better herself is what I'm trying to say. She is up against a Little Miss Perfect, or a goody two-shoes girl in school, is her competition, who makes A's on every single thing, kisses a lot of butt, and she's like the top of the class, and she's like number 2. So what it boils down to is, it boils down to her science project. She's trying to gain an excellent an excellent history grade. It's her history project. An excellent history grade in order to overcome the number 1 spot, become the valedictorian, and hopefully lock herself in for this scholarship. Well, where the movie takes off really is she's at the wrath of Mrs. Tingle, played excellently, and just excellently to the T by actress Helen Mirren. Helen Tingle is like hell on 2 legs, basically. She or Helen Tingle, Mrs. Tingle in the movie, she is like hell on 2 legs. She just basically, she doesn't get along with anybody. She's everybody's thorn in their side. Even the principal of the school, played I think by Michael McKean, Lenny from Laverne and Shirley, and she just gets on everybody's nerves, and basically she is just a torture to all these kids in school. There's a lot of funny antics that go on during the history class part of the movie, where they're all showing off their projects, and you kind of get a taste for really in that scene where or what Mrs. Tingle is as far as a character. Later on in the movie, what really sets it in motion is her, Katie Holmes' boyfriend-to-be in the movie, basically. He steals a copy of her exam and they're going to cheat. He wants to ensure that she gets a good grade on the exam so that she beats Mrs. Goody Two Shoes in school, or Little Miss Perfect. Well, where it takes off is, lo and behold, as it always happens, Mrs. Tingle finds that he accidentally stuffs the exam in her book bag, and she finds the exam. Well, she's going to report it first thing Monday morning, because that Friday the principal's already gone. Well, they figure out this hijinks of a plan, basically, that over the weekend they're going to go to her and basically put on all the tears and plead with her in any way, her best friend and her boyfriend to be, or the love interest in the movie. They're all three going to go and ask for her forgiveness and plead with her that it wasn't her fault and all this stuff. Well, Mrs. Tingle does not even listen to them, basically. She's very, very cold. She's very, very stoic, and is basically going to torture them to the nth degree, because she gets her jollies out of torturing high school students, basically. Well, one thing leads to another. The boyfriend gets involved, and they take her hostage in her home. And basically do the old comedy movie routine, 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton and Lily Tomlin, where they take the boss hostage. They do the same thing in this movie, or a takeoff on that. They take Mrs. Tingle hostage and basically demand that she forgive and forget, and all things will be forgotten. They are going to take some incriminating photos with her and some other another gentleman that plays into the story later. I don't want to ruin too much of that. But know that from that point on, it's Blackmail City. There's lots of twists and turns. There's a good little action finale built in. But it's basically a suspense thriller with some dark comedy thrown in there, with some Kevin Williamson-esque comedy thrown in there. Think the comedy and riffs of Scream built into a suspense thriller for high school students. And there's your movie, Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I got to say, Katie Holmes plays a really good role in this. You really believe that she is a genuine student. She's just trying to better herself. The favorite supporting role in the movie is Molly Ringwald of Breakfast Club and all the Brat Pack movies of the 80s. She shows up as I think the high school secretary that basically fills in for Mrs. Tingle while Mrs. Tingle is being held hostage. And some of her lines in the movie are just gold. I don't want to ruin it, so just watch for her little parts in the movie, and I think you'll enjoy it. Let's go over the DVD presentation today. I don't think the Echo Bridge has re-released this one on Blu-ray as of yet. They sent out the standard def copy here. And in true Echo Bridge format, they're not going to put any special features on these, so don't even look for them, guys. That's not until they actually announce that they're going to change up their batting order or anything. They're basically just putting out standard re-release, no-nonsense, bare-bone re-releases of these Miramax and Dimension line of films from the Weinstein Company. A lot of their catalog titles, not a lot of their premiere titles that are newer or ones that they've held rights to, but a lot of these older ones that they just wanted to get out there in a cheap format. I gotta say, for picture quality, guys, as far as DVDs go, the picture quality is quite good. There's little to no speckling on the dirty speckling on the print, unless you're really looking for it. I did spy some here and there. The colors look pretty good. It is, it's not going to be Blu-ray quality, but as far as DVDs go, you could do a whole lot worse. I didn't see too much of a problem with it. They got a decent print for the transfer, I could tell that. They just didn't do a whole lot of, I don't know if you'd call it remastering or just reworking, where they go in and take out the speckling and stuff like that on the screen. So, or the dirtiness of some of the transfers from one scenes to another. They didn't really do a whole lot of that, and they don't really do that in their re-releases. But I can honestly say the picture quality, especially on a standard def TV, will sing pretty good. On a high def TV upscaled, it wasn't too bad. Sound quality was not too bad, but like with a lot of these re-releases, picture quality might be okay, but the sound quality is a little bit lacking. I think it was a 2.0 stereo transfer in the sound quality field, so I wouldn't look for any edge of your seat bass bombastic sound in this movie. Then again, it's basically a comedy drama, a suspense movie, so I'm not too much into having to have the 5.0, 5-to-1 sound stereo surround in these type of movies. So, but all in all, not a bad presentation. Just there's no special features on it. Picture quality checks out. I'd say picture quality is probably on the scale of 5, at least a 3.5. The sound about a 3.0. For a budget price budget price presentation of Teaching Mrs. Tingle, guys, I'd say pick it up if you don't have it in your collection, or watch for one of these quad packs and double packs that they put these out in. You can probably get a better deal that way. It'll probably be in the $5 range at Walmart or Kmart, all your local stores. So I say pick it up because I'm a fan of this movie. I have to be honest. It's like a guilty pleasure for me. It's not a favorite of mine, but it's just one of those that I think truly captures the mid to late 90s, where we were in history of film at that time, on the hip scene of Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend. Kevin Williamson jumps in with a suspense thriller that I think delivers on that level. It's not anything that's going to be need to be thrown in the time capsule for the archives. But if you like these type of movies and you want to see a good performance from Katie Holmes, kind of not where she's at now in life. I have this problem with Katie Holmes now. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that today. But Katie Holmes then and some decent supporting roles from Helen Mirren. I say pick it up. If you're not into these type of films or the Kevin Williamson joints or anything like that, I say stay away from it. Rock on, dudes. I'll see you next time.